I got feedback on the episode that was put out.
From?
Multiple people. And
you're not going to name them?
Multiple people who asked to remain anonymous. And they said it was the worst shit they've heard in their life. I couldn't make it. No, actually, I was surprised and moved and, pleased to hear that people not only listened to a lot of it and enjoyed it and want more. Like, that was the universal feedback from everybody was, when is the next, when can I listen to this again? So,
Well, I didn't hear much from anyone except one particular person texted me and said, "You better take videos of you guys going out to WeHo and getting trolled."
Oh God!
Trolling them
of the shirts, the trans shirts. That still hasn't arrived. I don't know where the shipping is going. Caitlin's there with her nails trying to put them in a package, but I eagerly await her. I eagerly await my transgenders for Trump shirt.
Are you gonna keep the postage because it was probably licked by her? No.
I know that Sophia's helping out with the drop shipping, and so we're just two girls trying to get these packages out. We know a few things about packages.
Oh my God!
We're gonna get her on the show one day. You do realize? Look, if she'll go out there and drink, Daddy's home hard seltzer or something like that, and go play golf, all we have to do is wave like $20 and she'll show up.
Or get Lady Gaga's barista here or something.
Exactly. I love how that's become a clapback now. So to give some background, at the Elton John AIDS party, there was Caitlyn Jenner running into Lady Gaga. They both live in Malibu or spend a lot of time there. And Caitlyn's like, "Oh, Miss Gaga, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you at Starbucks lately." And Lady Gaga was like, "Oh, well, I switched baristas," and was kind of visibly uncomfortable and then left. It's become like a clapback now. Like, "Oh, I switched baristas," to curve somebody in real life that you don't actually want to see or talk to. In the same way that Nancy Pelosi's little osteoporosis clap at the State of the Union when Trump was speaking has become this cultural, Twitter-driven clapback thing, which is so stupid.
So that's all I have to do is just, you invite me over here and say, "Oh, I switched bartenders."
I know you didn't, because I know all your bartenders, and they love me.
Love you?
Well, they tolerate me.
There you go.
And they give me strong pours. So what more can I ask for?
Well, in a city like this, what more can you ask for?
That's true. Haven't been kicked out yet. So, anyway, I do want to acknowledge I poured 2 beverages. I won't say what's in them, because they don't sponsor us yet. Okay, it's Kirkland Signature Vodka, Gerolsteiner water, and there's no ice. There's lime. There's no ice because I forgot to refill.
He forgot the recipe.
I forgot how to make a vodka soda or a ranch water. As they call it.
You forgot how to make ice. You forgot the recipe.
I forgot. I was shoving the ice trays up my ass the whole time, but I didn't know. It was the opposite. I should have shoved them up yours. It's icy. But
no, you should have shoved them in my heart.
I thought you had that removed. I thought you switched organs. But anyway, we had a topic list, right? Did we? I don't know.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, well, fuck that.
But first, I need to, because I'm sure everyone's curious after last week.
Maybe bi-curious.
Everyone's curious about my Lyft ride here.
Oh.
My Lyft driver was of some unknown country of origin.
They were Persian. It's fine. You can say that.
No, I really don't know what he was, but he was strange looking. And I don't mean that in any racist way. He was quite strange looking. He looked like Gollum.
So Persian. Anyway, continue.
But he must have been like Muhammad Ali and Speed Racer's love child, because he was bobbing and weaving in and out of the lanes, and I was getting motion sickness in the backseat of the car.
Oh, God.
Like,
why do you, and by extension, you and I, get the worst lifts ever. Like, remember the one that we got when we were going to Korean barbecue, and this guy had more stick-on, glow-up LED lights, all tacked onto like an old Honda Civic. This guy was driving like Grand Theft Auto. He blew through 2 stop
He was
signs.
driving a mobile version of the Abbey.
He was driving the Abbey on wheels through stop signs at 70 miles an hour. And I did look over at you once, and I thought, you know what? This is it. We're
gonna Thelma and Louise this shit in the back of an Uber.
As I always knew it would end. I would die in Koreatown in the backseat of a Honda Civic with you. I just always have
Hey, there are worse endings.
That's true. Could have been in downtown.
You could be doing squats and just, shit out your colon. That's a bad ending.
We had a friend who did that. Well,
You had a friend?
He prolapsed.
Oh,
and now he sells t-shirts. So what do you want me to do? Anyway.
Speaking of Lyft, which
does not sponsor this podcast.
No. But this little tidbit that I'm about to share will segue directly into one of our topics. Very seamlessly. You like how I do that? So when I opened the Lyft app, it said it is now optional for masks.
So you don't have to check a box anymore that
No.
says, I will wear a mask or else I will be kicked out. That's
Correct.
Great.
So, yeah.
Cheers to that.
As soon as I opened it, at least this was the first time I've opened it in, I guess, a week. But when I opened it, it said masks are now optional. However, when the ride was almost there, so you know how it vibrates when they're 3 minutes away or something?
They're down the street.
Right.
Put your fucking shoes on. Put your pants back on. They're coming.
So it vibrated when he was 3 minutes away, and it said, don't forget to wear your mask as the driver approaches.
They haven't updated the API yet.
So I'm thinking they either forgot to update that one part, or they left it in there as some subliminal thing. I don't know.
Maybe because, as we found out, so since we last spoke on air, a judge, this wonderful judge in Florida, struck down the CDC mask mandate, basically saying that they have no authority to do this.
And go find my tweet about it and like it.
Yes, it's very good. And it's over. It's basically, this whole thing is over. Monday, that was the day it happened, Monday, or Tuesday.
Well, no, today's Wednesday, so it was Monday.
It was Monday. All the airlines within 24 hours dropped their requirements. People were celebrating the airplane. They were crying. I sound like Trump. I see these generals, these big generals, these big men, never shed a tear in their life. They come to me, tears in their eyes, Mr. President, Mr. President. I'm saying what, I don't know. But that's basically how it felt. As people were, it was like our VE day or whatever. The masks are off, everything's over. Today, the Biden administration, through the Justice Department, said, the CDC wants to uphold this, therefore we're going to appeal this ruling. Everybody's done. I don't know what points they're trying to gain here, other than basically just saying something like, well, we tried. But the CDC themselves even said, well, we're probably going to drop the mandate, but we need 2 more weeks because, it's always 2 more weeks. We always get stuck in a 2 more week cycle. So maybe that's why Lyft left it in, because they might think, they have to strap it back on, in which case they'll go back to literally nobody, from drivers to riders, wearing the mask. Except for that one woman who tried to pick me up at the airport, had a mask, saw me with that one, and then just kept going.
Well, as you and I have discussed before offline, I honestly thought, Lyft and Uber being the companies that they are, they would have dragged their feet a little bit about this. They wouldn't have lifted it immediately. I honestly thought it would become an extra thing that you can check in the app. I prefer not to wear a mask, or I prefer to wear a mask, and they'll match you with the driver that way.
Wonder if, I don't know. I still think that could be a possibility. Because it was people were on Twitter being like, I am immunocompromised and I use this thing to get to my dialysis appointments with chemo and I want a mask. And it's okay, you can still wear one. I don't think the person in front of the Honda Accord is going to affect you, but you can open the window, whatever. It's summer. What are we doing? Almost summer.
I'm not, like I said, I might internally judge and make fun of someone who chooses to wear a mask, but because I don't think that it actually works. But if it's their security blanket, it's their prerogative, their freedom to wear it if they want to. I won't actually get in their face and say ha 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 you're stupid, as much as I might want to. But the only downside to that is if they were to implement something like that on Lyft or Uber, I can imagine it might up the prices. Because now you've split.
The bunch of unmasked people
Well,
who don't want to do it, who are fighting for Ubers and Lyfts, and a few masked people with a lot more drivers to support them.
Right. So you split your pool in half, or in a fraction. It's not directly half, but you split it into a fraction, and that would cause supply to go down, demand to go up, right? So, well, yeah, supply to go down, basically.
Right. Well, who knows? Maybe some rideshare app is going to be started calling, instead of Uber and Lyft, or something called Mask, like MASQ, and then it's like everybody shows up in a hazmat suit. I don't fucking know. I'm tired of this. And I think that, there's some people who, before the pandemic, which I hate that word, before the global panini, would wear a mask on public transportation and airplanes and everything, because airplanes are gross, and that's fine, and it's fine for them. Now, airplanes have HEPA filters, they have, everyone's established better sanitary procedures, we're all drowned in Purell, we're probably all going to be attacked by a super bacteria by the mid-2040s. People don't talk about that, the amount of, fake sanitation that we've done for everything, we're going to get, listeria roaring back and killing all of us at this stage. We're going to cut one cantaloupe and it's over, because the knife is going to touch 10 other things. But there were precautions that you can take for yourself. We're not at a stage anymore, and you can hear my recently single and broken up neighbor who yelled about it in the courtyard the other day. You're in a position now where people can choose what they want to do. I don't know why that's such a problem for people.
I don't know if you saw the clip that is going around Twitter of this doctor talking to CNN, saying, actively telling people to lie. Telling people to get on planes with extra masks, and if you're sitting next to someone on a plane who's not wearing a mask, giving them one of your extra masks and saying, I have a kid with cancer at home, would you please mind wearing this during the flight? If someone
gave that to me, I would have the flight attendant remove that person from the plane.
But
because they would remove me for not wearing one 2 months ago, or taking it down to have a sip of water.
This doctor is actively telling people to lie to others.
Lie and say, I have a kid with cancer.
Pull at their heartstrings
wow.
in order to get them to wear a mask to make them feel better.
Well, okay, to use the Claire Underwood line from House of Cards, I will let that child wither up and die inside of you if it means that I get what I want. No, I don't care about you. I don't care about your kid with cancer. I don't care if there's a 100-year-old person living with you. I don't care about that now. If that's the case, why are you getting on a plane? Why are you getting on a plane? They're sick.
Why are you not home taking care of them?
Or they're sick. Get in the car. Do something else. If that's the case, I don't care anymore. You should not be getting on a Spirit Airlines flight and interfering. Do not get on a Spirit Airlines flight and interfere with my Material Guaro holiday to Miami. I don't care anymore. It's over. Did you see the clip? There was a clip on the internet. Before we get to one of the real topics, there's a clip today.
This is one of the real topics.
Well, Material Guaro. Anyway. Saucy Santana has the song of the summer. I don't know if you kids know that. There's a clip of this guy on a Spirit flight who obviously is on something. I think it's meth. It might be Chase and Buttigieg. And He's sitting on the flight.
But
Give
does-
me a disclaimer.
But does Spirit charge you extra for you taking meth before you get on their flight?
He was carrying 3 dolls with him that looked like children. But anyway, this guy just lights up a cigarette and starts smoking
Just
it.
like Jason Buttigieg.
Exactly. He just lights up a cigarette and starts smoking it in row 18A. And the person next to him just hits the button like, excuse me, like, can we get a flight attendant here? And it's so funny because imagine showing that clip to someone in 1973 and being like, you not only can you not smoke on an airplane, this airplane will be grounded in Peoria, Illinois if someone tries. But it was funny. It was funny to watch because now there's no mask and this guy just whips out a fucking Marlboro Red and starts smoking. And God bless him, you know?
I'm going to recall something from my childhood.
What decade was that?
And I really, really, really... I use the word childhood loosely. And I know that none of our listeners and neither have you have ever heard of this person. I grew up in the South where, you know, there might have been some racism. There was a drag queen at one point named Shirley Q. Liquor. And it was a white gay man dressing up as a black woman.
Wow.
With full-on blackface and everything, and doing these bits.
It was Ted Danson?
And one of the bits, she was a flight attendant on Ebonics Airways.
Ebonics Airways?
Yes. And there's a clip on YouTube, if you ever want to go find it, of this skit. It is quite amusing. Perhaps we will link it in the show notes.
What? You act like we have a real podcast. We have a YouTube link that we send to people that's embedded.
We might link it in the comment section.
Sorry. Well, we'll tell our producer to do that. It's a stuffed animal on the other side of the room. Anyway, Shirley Q. Liquor.
Yes. So, yeah, you reminded me of that skit because during the skit she says, of course, if you want to smoke in the bathroom, that is your business, and just do not let the white people on the ground find out about it. And the smoke detectors in the bathroom have been removed for your convenience or something.
Well, another person... Oh, excuse me, I just burped. You can edit that out of the podcast. If you're going to edit that out. I don't burp or fart.
That
I'm
stays.
like a Ken doll. Anyway.
Which means you also don't have... Never mind.
I had them removed. That's a separate set. You have to pay more for it. It's in a jar, like Rasputin. Anyway.
Oh my God.
There was one of
Sorry, Kyle.
Keep out the jar. One of my, and I think your, Twitter followers was talking today about it's Mr. Peyton, Mr. Alexander, was talking about how there's this myth that air travel used to be so much more glamorous than it is now because if you adjust for inflation, which, you know, the cost of this vodka soda has increased in the course of this conversation. If you adjust for inflation, those limes are about $28 now, so you owe me. If you adjust for inflation, a flight of a first class ticket, then when you get the roast beef or the prime rib and they give you martinis and all this stuff, was more than you would pay for a first class ticket now, where they'll just load you up with enough alcohol that, you know, make your way to Newark. And when it comes to air travel, I think that's really interesting because the meme was like you with the prime rib in 1971, you now with the, you know, one pretzel on Southwest and a drink that you had to pay for. So it has changed, but as somebody who has now become a person who flies a lot now, I can't say it's gotten worse because I fly Allegiant and those planes are all from the 80s. But
oh Jesus,
you know, they still, by the miracle of God, they still fly. But I can say that there does feel like a general sense of it has gotten worse because you don't. First of all, you get molested on the way in if you have TSA, you know, through TSA. If you have TSA pre-check, you don't have to deal with that. But for most people, you know, that's what happens. You get there, you have to wait with the mask on at the airport. Up until this week, for the past 2 years, you've had the mask on at the airport. You get on the plane with the mask on, and in accordance with local safety regulations, all that bullshit. They might bring out water if you're lucky, and that's it. Like, the fact that they don't just hand you a drink when you get on the plane, like they do the first class people, is upsetting. And those first class people are paying $1,100 to get 2 free drinks and a slice of and a little Baby Bell cheese. That doesn't seem like it's worth the value anymore. There is no glamour left in air travel.
Right. No, you're absolutely right, because someone sitting someone like me sitting in stewage in the back, like literally like back row.
Yeah. I love the row before the shitter because you can't recline. That's always fun.
I'm paying like 3 to 4 times less than someone in first class sometimes. And you're right. They literally get they get maybe 2 drinks. They don't have to pay for the alcohol that's included. And then they might get, a little bit of food that I might not get. But
yeah,
that's still not worth. Yeah,
that's
still not worth the
$1,100 ticket. And by the way, it's not great for the flight attendants either. I've walked to the bathroom a couple times and seen them sitting there with the little Trader Joe's salads, just like or one of them with their little Rubbermaid Tupperware container. And I'm like, the airline doesn't feed you. Like, you show up to work like anybody else. You have to bring like a sandwich, maybe, if it goes through security. That was sad to watch. They're there, 3 prep doses behind.
Because they're all gay.
They're gay, or they're women in their 50s. There's no one left. The gays saved the airlines. The airlines would have all gone under after the air traffic controller strike if the gays didn't come in and become flight attendants. Otherwise, you would have had these women haggard, hard living, former Playboy bunnies, former Pan Am flight attendants. Now they're 70, like, honey, what do you want?
You'd have Nancy Pelosi as a
flight attendant? That's not the friendly skies I'm flying. But that's where we're at now when it comes to flight. So you have gays and a couple old women. It's like the nursing profession. Gays and a couple old women. That's it. If we lose these old women, we have an entire industry that falls apart and is left to the gays.
And then we'll soon fall apart after that.
Exactly, because they're... What, you think they're training younger gays to come take their spot? Fire that fucking twink, he took my fucking ship. What, they're not cultivating a new generation. They're destroying it.
Yeah. Speaking of which,
before you get to that new topic, we were suggested at the last minute to discuss a topic. Did you see the thing I posted today about the Oscars?
He says we were suggested as if he didn't just pull it out of his ass.
No, you're and my friend Marlon Brando suggested it to us. He said about the thing I posted. Okay, so one of Liza Minnelli's friends, who was with her at the Oscars.
Gotcha. Yeah, I did see you post that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Was with her at the Oscars, gave an interview to some morning TV channel, and said Liza Minnelli was sabotaged at the Oscars and at the last minute forced to appear in a wheelchair. So apparently Liza Minnelli threw her back out, like a friend of ours. And she was at the Oscars, and she said, I want to be in a director's chair on stage. I'll walk out to stage, sit in a director's chair. But then after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, the producers all freaked out and said, you have to go out in a wheelchair. Like, we can't put a director's chair out there. That's going to take too much effort. And she said, okay, fine. I don't go on stage. They're like, well, fine. We'll cancel your whole segment. So she said, she was miserable, and she was like, okay, fine. At the last second, 90 seconds before going out, okay, fine, I'll do it. And they wheeled her out on stage and made her look like an invalid. And then Lady Gaga, who is, just, if Lady Gaga calls, like I had a discussion with somebody, if, Barry Manilow has been refusing Lady Gaga's calls for the past 9 years. Like, if Lady Gaga calls and you're in your 70s and used to perform, like you're a big performer.
It's the Grim Reaper.
She's the Grim Reaper. That's why Grace Jones said, I looked into her eyes and I saw nothing. Like, you don't trust her. If you perform with her, look at Tony Bennett. They keep dragging him out every 2.5 years. He doesn't even know where he is. He still thinks that she's Gina Lollobrigida. Like, you know, he goes, Lady Gaga, he doesn't fucking know. They just give him a script. But if Lady Gaga goes out and performs with you, it's a kiss of death. And Liza knew that, and you still wheeled her poor ass on stage. She's on 7 Percocet. To go and do the Oscars, she looked like hell. Because of the Will Smith slap. So I blame Will Smith for this, but most of all I blame Lady Gaga because she got to go out there and pretend like, oh, I'm the artist who loves old people. And they said her whole thing was sabotage. She had a whole segment she was going to do, and it was all sabotage because of the thing.
But what's sad about that is that, well, first of all, it's been, what, a month since the Oscars has aired?
Yeah.
And this is just now coming to light because...
Right. Well, one of the gays leaked it. One of her gays leaked it.
Right, but that shouldn't have been leaked.
Right.
It should have been outright stated, because when you're watching that as as an audience member and you're seeing, someone that you might have grown up watching in movies or on stage, and you see her looking like that, it makes you feel old and decrepit and
it made me feel old and decrepit seeing that.
Well, you are, but...
And that's why you do a podcast with me, to suck the last bits of life. You're the Lady Gaga and I'm Liza over here. Well, you know what? Deo! I'm just going to make it miserable on everybody towards the end. But
you've already had your cabaret.
But it's at this stage, it's like, why do that to someone who's a legendary performer, who's obsessed with their image? Like, that would be like if in what was the year that they brought out Betty Davis? 85, 86 to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award. It'd be like if they just wheeled a casket on stage. And she just sort of rose up with her little hat, with her hat. And they were like, all right, here's Betty Davis. Like, that's horrible. Liza Minnelli is still vibrant. She threw out her back. Right. That's why she was in a wheelchair. She's not paralyzed.
Right. So the image that they gave was that she is so old, and so are all of you by extension.
Right.
That she literally just she can't walk anymore.
But here's the thing: she's a nice person. By all accounts, Liza is a very nice person. If they did that to Olivia de Havilland, she would have brought a gun. And there would have been a hell of a lot more than the Will Smith thing on the fucking Oscars stage. It would have been better if this Oscars didn't happen. This Oscars was the worst thing to happen to Hollywood since the writer's strike.
Just cancel it. I mean, come on. They've gotten the lowest ratings in the past, 5 or 6 years? Like, they've been tanking.
10, I think. It just keeps getting worse.
They've been tanking everything.
Yeah. Just cancel the Oscars. Or if you're gonna do it right. Why is that so hard?
Well, I was going to say you don't have to televise it, but then the gays would revolt, so...
Well, they revolted seeing Liza Minnelli in a fucking wheelchair.
Pick their poison.
It's called AZT. But anyway. Biden, according to The Hill, told Obama...
Oh, yeah.
I'm running in 2024.
Yes.
This is a problem. Because the whole point of electing him was, I just have one term. And I believe he said that. At some point.
Yeah, no, he absolutely did.
During
he absolutely
the campaign,
did. Yes,
right?
yes,
During
yes.
the primary, he's like, look, if you elect me, it's just me, it's fine.
Right. He, at one point, he did say that he would willingly be a one-term president.
Yeah, and now he's going to do it again.
So there's lots wrong here, and a few things that I would like to bring up.
Okay.
So one thing that kind of coincides with our previous topic about the mask mandate. Why? Because you alluded to it, and you're absolutely right. There was lots of joy. There was lots of celebrating after this judge, made her ruling.
Right.
Lifting the mandate. If people are so happy about it, 90% of people are happy about it, why does the Biden administration, why does the White House think that they're going to press the issue and appeal the judge's decision? Why do they think that's going to buy them anything? Like, they're literally just giving the Republicans like a super majority on a platter. Like
I
they're
think
delivering it to us.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. I agree with that. I also think they're scared of their demographic and voter base who needs to be in favor of the mandate. Which, by the way, the Trump administration established. If there was a Democratic administration in place at the beginning of the pandemic, do we think that this would have gone down the way that it did? You would have had Democrats being like, "No, I'm not wearing a mask. Like, it's over. Like, it's fine. It's mild. It's whatever. It's like bird flu," and it wouldn't have been anything. I think
Right.
there was a big like, oh, they told us to wear the mask. Okay, I'm gonna wear 3 masks. It was a very like, I remember there was a large portion of time I'm not gonna take the shot. I'm not gonna take it because Kamala said that on the debate stage. Like, I wouldn't trust somebody who came out of this administration. And now it's like, well, if you don't take 8 shots, you're a bigot. That's what happened.
But I'm sorry. Back to my other point about Biden running again. I mean, he's basically already a corpse anyway. Someone else told me.
I hope he does. I genuinely hope he does.
Someone else told me that there are more rumblings now of him canceling student loan debt because he is apparently so afraid of losing votes that he's going to, basically buy people's votes by canceling student loan debt. And my response to that is 90% of the people whose debt you would cancel are going to vote for you anyway. So whose vote are you really buying?
But here's the thing. Student loan debt cancellation doesn't mean anything unless it's at least retroactive to the past 3 years. So if you just recently paid off your student loans, that should be included in student loan debt cancellation. Second thing is, student loan debt now is owned by either Navient or Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, whatever the government agency that's owned by that. But it's not a government agency, it's a private corporation. So you have to compel a private corporation to act on behalf of the government, and that requires many more steps. Third thing, the whole point of a lot of people getting into government jobs was that they got the 10-year student loan for forbearance or forgiveness or whatever. So now you're basically telling them, oh, congratulations that you joined a government job. Also, what you did was meaningless. And fourth thing, there's way too much lobbying on behalf of these loan providers and banks to make something like that happen. So I think the closest that they will ever get is what they tried to do during the global panini, where it was like, well, we'll pause payments, but you still have to own it. They technically can't forgive student loan debt, even though they should.
My very liberal lawyer friend, whom you've met, I will not say her name.
Love her.
The only reason she's not like some high power like litigator like earning a huge salary is because of that, because she had debt and she knew
thousands of her
that if she worked for like a nonprofit or some government agency for a certain amount of time it would be forgiven.
Right.
So she's been paying like minimally on those loans.
Yeah.
And earning a thankless salary.
Right.
For the past probably 7 years, so she's almost there.
Yeah.
But if they wipe all of that out, I can imagine she would be pissed.
I'd be pissed
because she could be really, really well off now if if that hadn't been a thing.
She'd be earning 6 figures now, a year, if it wasn't for that. A lot of people become teachers. A lot of people get into other professions because they think they're part of that 10-year program. This is the problem with establishing it in the first place. It should not have been. The establishment of the student loan operation, or the student loan where, you're 4 years, all this kind of stuff, is what raised tuition to the point where it is now. Because colleges had a guaranteed government-backed amount of money that they could gain. They've showed how tuition increased when that came into being a factor. That's not to say that low-income people should not be able to access free education. That should be part of the process, but it was done in spite of that. So the only, then you've got these universities that gain their endowments. What's Harvard or Brown? Which one has the biggest one? It's like $40 billion. It's like a Bill Gates amount of money, like that they just have. So
That's not the metric anymore. The metric is now Elon Musk. Screw Bill Gates.
But Elon's money is in Tesla and everything like that. Like, yeah, Bill Gates is in Microsoft.
I'm just saying he has more money.
He does. No, he does.
And with inflation, that means something.
What is inflating?
Not your ego, that's for sure.
It doesn't need inflation.
That's exactly why I'm not inflating it.
So, do we think that Biden is running in 2024?
He says he is. I'm not gonna not take him at his word. Who else would run?
Well, he didn't. Here's the thing, though. It was a trial balloon, which in politics,
fair enough.
Something out to see what the response
Right.
is.
Yes.
There's a video clip of me on YouTube in 2008 for my AP government project describing what a trial balloon is, and it's the most embarrassing thing ever recorded of me. And I've been recorded with tapes on my nipples for the LA Times. But that's a long
The most embarrassing thing ever recorded.
It is.
Okay.
But
You
I'll
hear
show you
that, ladies and
video.
gents? We have something to strive for here.
It is.
I need to make something that is more embarrassing
It
for
is.
him.
But I think it was a trial balloon because it was alleged, according to two sources at the Hill, Biden told Obama that he was running again. So it's like third-hand information at that point.
Which is
So it was not.
it's
Biden
just
didn't
as,
say
it's,
to a reporter.
it's just as good from the horse's mouth. We all know that. But you're right.
But
It's a test.
they're
It's a
trying
test,
it out,
yes.
and I genuinely think it was that. Now, one of my followers said something to the aspect of, does that mean he could name Obama as a vice president and run, and then if he just dies, Obama could take over? But according to First or Second Amendment, that's dicey. Technically, Obama could serve for at least 2 years of a presidency, even though he was not elected. If he wanted to be, I don't think he wants to do that. Like, him and Michelle are done. Like, they're done. They lost their Spotify deal. They didn't get it renewed. They're done. They don't want to do this anymore. But technically, he could.
Yeah, Big Mike didn't want us to find out that he killed Joan Rivers.
Did I show you the picture? Michelle's a tranny. It's okay. We all know. Did I show you the picture of Viola Davis playing Michelle Obama?
Yes, you
in the
did.
first
Number
days?
one. Number
Those
two.
eyebrows were a crime.
Why does
They did
your
her dirty.
Caitlyn Jenner impression sound like
No,
identical
that's my,
to your Joan Rivers
That's my
impression?
Sylvia Brown from Montel Williams impression, which
excuse
only
me.
the real OGs will know.
I thought you were.
Your husband's out. He'll be back in August.
You want to see my Sylvia Plath impression?
No, my oven doesn't get that hot.
It's not gas, you mean?
It is gas.
Oh shit! Don't tell me that.
Exactly. If I find you by my oven with a sign that says "No Funeral," I swear to God, you're impersonating a Simpsons clip.
You'd be dead too.
No, you can't kill me with my oven. There's a window.
That's a sentence I would never thought I would hear. You can't kill me with my oven.
Well, if you grab a La Cornue range and beat me over the head with it, then maybe, yeah, fine, okay. But I love the fact that also through a 3-level deep spokesperson, Bernie said, if Biden doesn't run, I might. That was today.
Yeah. Okay. So
But
we
he
have
has-
we have two older than Methuselah fucks.
Okay, but
Talking about
there's
running.
a distinction there. Biden goes out and he still thinks it's 1956. He doesn't know what day it is. Bernie's vibrant and vital for being almost 80.
And he has a huge support
Dick.
system.
Oh. I don't know. Bernie has built-in voters.
Huge.
Now, a lot of people are saying it's the no refunds tour for the third time, where it's like, you know, he goes out, he runs, he gets money, he doesn't do it.
The DNC will never let him actually run.
Maybe, but then, okay, then that opens up a door for one more person, one more time. Hillary. It's the I Deserve It tour. All of these people running for the Democratic nominations sound like they're doing a Coachella comeback.
Oh, Jesus, help
I
us.
genuinely hope. I hope that Biden runs again. I hope that Bernie runs again. And most of all, I really hope that Hillary runs again. Because at that point, it's over.
If we get the three of them on a debate stage, you will have to pick me up off the floor because I will be saying "Fix it, Jesus" until The rapture comes.
I just want to see Hillary at a campaign stop in Iowa drunk, basically saying Vince Foster had it coming. I want to see her pour a beer that has a bunch of foam in it, a huge head. I want to see her pretend to care about kissing a baby and to be like, you know what, your baby's fucking ugly. I want to see Hillary be honest, because that is the person. I'm not going to vote for it, but I will respect. I will respect Hillary going out and being like, you know what, Bill's a fucking asshole. I want to see Hillary go out and say, Monica Lewinsky, you know.
It'll never happen.
I want to see her go out and be like, he hooked up with that big Jew broad. I want her to be honest. You know, she said many slurs in her life. If you read Dick Morris's book, who's their campaign manager, Bill Clinton shoved Dick Morris to the floor. And Hillary said, don't beat him up, it's not worth it. She also called him a phrase that starts with a K for Jewish people that I will not repeat on this broadcast. Anyway, well, we covered all our topics. All right. Love you guys. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye.